Hey guys, welcome back to Filter Coffee Footy. Today we are here to talk about a topic which is very near and dear to us, especially Karthik, is the horrible refereeing that we've been seeing so far in the Premier League. PGMOL and VAR. Good lord, it's been atrocious. We're going to try and hit on like three general points: how decisions have not been consistent, how decisions have
No, no, no. They
sometimes
have been consistent. They have been consistent. Consistent in being inconsistent. You
uh,
have to rephrase it.
so the consistency of the decisions, how they may have affected outcomes of matches in a negative way, and we're going to end with what they can try and do to fix some of the issues at the very least. Some of the decisions that are clear and obvious but are still for some reason not being given out. Like, share, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, and let's jump right into this. So starting off with the consistent or consistently inconsistent decisions. The biggest example that stands out is the red card for Laporte against Crystal Palace, and a similar incident which was just given a yellow card for Johnny Evans in their match against Arsenal. So let's just dissect the situation and understand what the logic was behind it, why there was such a difference in there. Karthik, what's your opinion on that?
I feel one referee felt, oh, it's just a yellow. The other referee felt it's a red. They really don't have a clue about what they're doing. And secondly, the argument that, oh, the distance between goal and the last man was quite far, quite high. But that argument holds true for both. So both players were quite far out from the box. So if you call off one player and hand them a red, it is clear and obvious that you give another red to a similar incident, right? You can't really make it a, what do you say? Make it a game of guess what, where you have to guess whether this is going to be a red or this is going to be yellow, or is this even going to be called off or not.
And there is also an argument to be made that Kyle Walker was probably closer to cutting down Wilfred Zaha than any of the Leicester defenders was to probably cutting down Aubameyang. Both tackles looked almost identical, with the defender basically manhandling the striker to bring them down. My opinion on this is that I think it was the game state that did affect. We are hearing this more and more that referees are getting swept up by the occasion, and I don't blame them, but this is where your coaching, your training as a referee should not be coming into contrast. Because I guess Crystal Palace versus Manchester City, a red card is a big event for a fixture like that, whereas Leicester versus Arsenal, where Arsenal are already winning 2-0, there is no real glory to be had in giving a red card decision in that fixture. So and this is only one example of many inconsistencies throughout the decision. Now, luckily, or maybe unluckily for Manchester City, because I'm pretty sure that even though I agree that it was a red card, if the decision was more consistent with the decision that they made for the Arsenal match, City were very much in this fixture. They could have possibly gone on to win that match as well, because they were still only 1-0 down at that point.
Right.
Um, it didn't affect the Leicester versus Arsenal result, which is, I mean, fortunate, I guess, but that's not what refereeing should be. It shouldn't be that a bad refereeing decision should end up in the correct outcome. That's really not how it should work. Which brings us on to our second point, where bad refereeing and bad VAR decisions actually led to points lost in this game. Now, the example that I want to bring about for this one is the Brighton and Hove Albion versus Newcastle United game, where Trossard was given a penalty, which the referee initially completely denied. He was in a good position. He had a clear view of the incidents. He completely denied the penalty. VAR called him back. The referee went back to the monitor. I mean, when I saw the replays, when I saw the match, it seemed like he stood there for an entire minute dissecting every single frame of that slow motion replay before coming back and overturning his decision. That to me was just an absolute misuse of VAR, because it didn't seem like a clear and obvious error. Even the pundits were arguing whether it was a decision or not. The commentators weren't really certain. I mean, for the most part, they were pretty confident that the decision would stand, that it wasn't really a penalty. But in this instance, it felt more like the referee felt compelled to align with VAR because VAR had decided to call him up
Call him in.
for
Yeah.
that decision. And again, at that point, Brighton, that was the first and only goal that Brighton scored in that match, and the match ended 1-1. Not that they weren't the better team, not that Newcastle are absolutely atrocious at this point in the season, but you'd rather have the teams decide their fates than have a refereeing decision kick in and decide the result for you, right? What's your take on that one?
If your boss calls you in, you still go through your Excel file even though you're confident about it, right? You still go through your report even though you're confident about it. And if he says there's something wrong, then there's something wrong. Although it might just be a 2 plus 2 calculation. But if your boss says something is wrong, I want you to take a long, hard look at it. You still take a long, hard look at it, which is what I don't get, right? If you're holding a decision on the field, then hold on to it and have some conviction, or convey it with VAR, discuss it with VAR. Right now, I feel that VAR just said no, that's a penalty. Follow whatever VAR says. So here at this point, I'm thinking, why are you even on the pitch? If if that's the case, then why are you even on the pitch? I would rather get a giant screen and have VAR display every single decision, right?
Yeah, and that also brings us to the point where at the start of the season they had said that they will flag clear and obvious decisions like offside. The biggest examples that they gave was like if it's a clear and obvious offside, the linesman is supposed to flag right then and there. They were not supposed to allow the passage of play to continue.
Clear and obvious. I think
It's
they are following the wrong Oxford dictionary for clear and obvious because
yeah, the message has been completely lost. We've seen so many decisions where you, as a spectator watching on a TV screen, can legitimately tell that that's offside, but the play continues. There is a missed opportunity or a missed shot or a goal that eventually doesn't stand. The players know it as well, but they're waiting for the whistle. Uh, the one instance was like you brought up Aubameyang versus Brighton or Burnley. I don't exactly remember who it was against, but he was clearly offside. And Aubameyang ran through, and then the defender came in and rightfully so tried to save a shot on goal by lunging into a tackle, which could have really ended badly for Aubameyang. And there was no reason for that passage of play to even continue, given how clearly offside he was at that point. So they still have to sort that part of the game out as well. Like I don't know where they're standing on that bit, but yeah, does anything else come to mind when you think about something like that?
uh, most of these incidents where they are allowing the play to go on, they are running the risk here. Uh, I can remember of one more incident. I can't remember the name of the teams though, but similar to Aubameyang, the ball is continued to be in play. The player takes advantage. The player tries to round off the keeper and score, but then it's chalked off offside. Here, the player is also running the risk of getting injured and not being, and the opponent not even facing consequence. Because if you're offside and you're in a crunch tackle, the tackle doesn't stand as a foul. So if you're offside, I could like smash you into pieces and just get away with it. How is that even making sense?
And yeah, it's amazing that you bring that point because that's the last bit that we did want to talk about with these refereeing decisions is absolutely reckless, not even tackles or challenges, just basically assaults that are just going completely unchecked and unpunished. The most
Bad
obvious,
behavior.
yeah, the most obvious one that comes to mind is obviously Cristiano Ronaldo trying to kick the ball right through Curtis Jones in Manchester United's demolition at the hands of Liverpool. I don't understand why that decision was. I mean, the linesman is right there. Don't tell me the linesman did not see what happened. Don't tell me the referee did not see what happened. The ball was right there. Um, that's just straight up bad conduct, right? There is no way Ronaldo was getting the ball. The play had stopped at that point. Why was that? I don't even remember whether he got a yellow card for that.
No,
incidents or not?
I don't think so. I really want to understand what the logic is with the Premier League, because had this been someone like a Granit Xhaka, he would have been given a red card for every single day of his existence and be told to go back to Switzerland. That would have been the case had it been Granit Xhaka doing it. So right now, reputation and precedence take front rather than actual on-field decisions.
A couple of other instances. Aaron Cresswell, I think it was Aaron Cresswell's tackle on Jordan Henderson in their match against West Ham United. Now, again, that's again
Yep.
possibly another decision where if
Yes.
Cresswell had gotten sent off, the outcome of that match would have been very different.
Drastically different.
For some reason, that decision was not made, and um, again, it's like VAR picks out these completely minor, irrelevant fouls, these neck and neck offsides, but misses obvious glaring fouls like those. Again, an incident that really infuriated me because it was like a double jeopardy situation was when Johnny Evans left a foot on Aaron Ramsdale again in that Arsenal versus Leicester match. That there, it may not have been a straight red, but it was definitely malicious intent. There was no way, he was not even close to winning the ball, but he still left a foot on Ramsdale. And he didn't see a yellow for that. And he went on to make another tackle later on in the play. So if he was booked for a yellow on that instance, that would have at the very least been a second yellow and a sending off, if not a straight red and a sending off.
Exactly.
So a lot of these decisions are just getting swept under the rug, and something that you brought up that can help sort of alleviate at least some of these issues was retroactive punishment. So why don't you go ahead and just talk more about that bit? I mean, that's a fabulous solution.
So the Premier League has taken retrospective action in the past. It's not rocket science, and it's not something that nobody's seen, and it's not like a vaccine that has skeptics all over this world, right? So it's none of those three. It's just simple review and punishment sort of case where you agree that this was an on-field decision that went wrong, and the team that suffered the brunt of it suffered the brunt of it. But what you do is you get the offender online, bring the offender to toe the line, and punish them with a suspension or a yellow card or maybe a red and a game suspension at the very least. Because the only way it bites the player or gets them to like think twice before committing another cynical challenge or being so irresponsible is by not letting them play, right?
And it
Give
makes
them
complete
that
sense.
suspension.
I don't think traditionally they were giving retrospective yellow cards, but I mean, why not introduce that? Because in the long run, you accumulate 5 yellow cards across the season and you do get a suspension. So I don't see why you shouldn't be given a yellow card outside of the 90 minutes on the clock for an offense that you committed during the game. So that's an absolutely viable solution, and it's almost surprising that nobody has talked about it or tried to reintroduce something like that in the Premier League, because I don't even remember the last time someone was given a retrospective punishment on anything. Probably like 3 or 4 seasons ago. But yeah, I mean, VAR still a mess, but I don't think it's all VAR's fault. It's the fault of the people trying to administer it. It's the
Right.
PGMOL that
That's
needs, because
absolutely correct.
I believe VAR is an absolute asset if it is used correctly, because it's technology. Technology is as good as the person that's using it, and right now the PGMOL is completely fluffing their hand. We have a lot more to say about this issue, but that's all we're going to hold ourselves up to for today. Let us know what you think can be improved. Let us know if you remember any instances that really cost teams because of just bad VAR or just bad refereeing decisions, because the whole reason VAR was introduced was to reduce bad decisions, and it seems to have just compounded it. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe as always. Follow us on Filter Coffee Footy. We're still growing, we're still doing well, but we can do a whole lot better. So show us that support, and yeah, take care, guys.
Help us out.
Bye.
See ya.